Welcome to Terrifying Tales, where we explore the unknown's eerie depths. Strap in for today's chilling tale revolving around an ominous antique mirror. Brace yourself, this is no tale for the faint-hearted. Our unexpected acquisition tale begins with a mirror, a secret portal. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered what's staring back? It all began at an estate sale where our protagonist discovered an antique mirror. Its unusual design and aura of history was irresistible. He had to have it. Little did he know he was bringing home more than just a mirror. As the mirror took its chilling hold in the protagonist's dwelling, an onslaught of petrifying events began to unfurl, etching a nightmarish tapestry that was impossible to disregard. An aura heavy with enigma and dread seeped into the atmosphere, freezing the marrow of anyone audacious enough to step foot into the room dominated by the ominous mirror. The once lively and teeming home now felt suffocated by the domineering spell cast by this seemingly benign object. In its hostile tranquility, the mirror gleamed menacingly, its polished facade mirroring the mundane surroundings with a macabre twist. There was an uncanny sinisterness in the way the dim light meandered across the glass, spawning spectral shadows in spaces untouched by darkness. Distorted reflections cavorted within the mirror's daunting frame, contorting and writhing in grotesque forms that defied the laws of physics and reality. Initially, the reflections appeared as vague, disembodied entities, warping and evolving like sentient spectres shackled within the glass confines. As the clock ticked, they became more pronounced, more humanoid. Grotesque faces, distorted bodies and alien landscapes, all shrouded in an eerie aura, began to materialize from the mirror's abyss, each apparition more blood-curdling than its predecessor. Hushed whispers began to reverberate around the room, their source a disconcerting mystery. The whispers soft and seductive, lulling one into a false sense of security, yet their content was bone-chilling. They spun tales of a forsaken past, narratives of loss, terror, and hopelessness that sent jagged shards of fear slicing through the bravest of hearts. The unseen narrators spun their haunting tales, their spectral voices a chilling symphony that echoed within the room. Suddenly the air would transform into an icy gust, gnawing at the flesh and chilling the soul. An uncanny sense of impending doom would seep into the room, permeating every corner, every nook. It felt as if countless unseen eyes were observing, scrutinizing every breath, every shudder. The disquieting sensation of being under surveillance refused to dissolve, hanging in the air like a malevolent entity. Deep within the mirror, eyes flickered to life, unblinking, penetrating. They gazed out into the room, tracking the protagonist with a hunger that was primal and chilling. There was an intelligence behind those eyes. A malevolent entity bound to the mirror. This presence was sinister, emanating a paralyzing fear that seemed to swallow everything in its path. The protagonist, initially oblivious to the lurking danger, began to sense the unnatural malevolence seeping from the mirror. A fear so profound began its icy crawl, winding its spectral tendrils around the protagonist's heart. Every element of the room, the mirror, the whispers, the distorted reflections, became harbingers of doom. The protagonist was now a mere puppet to this mirror, ensnared within the oppressive walls of a haunted dwelling. And then came the piercing revelation. The mirror was not a mere reflective surface. It was a vortex, a threshold, a passage to an unspeakable realm best left untouched. The mirror had morphed into a sinister emblem of terror, representing a monstrosity far surpassing the protagonist's darkest nightmares. The hair-raising incidents were simply the prelude to a journey into abject terror. As the sun disappeared beyond the horizon each day, an inexplicable, bone-chilling fear would wrap itself around the protagonist like a cold shroud. His exuberant abode, once resounding with laughter and warmth, had morphed into a shadow-infested labyrinth haunted by the phantom whispers from the depths of hell. With each passing day turning into endless weeks, the silent haunting developed into blood-curdling, ominous voices. Invisible entities, conceived in the darkest abyss of his mind, seemed to be tightening their deathly grasp around him. He could feel their spectral presence slithering closer, their icy, ghostly touch tangible in the freezing, soulless air that had usurped the once cozy essence of his home. The protagonist, initially intrigued by the mirror's peculiarities, was now ensnared in a petrifying ordeal. He found himself at the mercy of forces that transcended human understanding. He could feel their frosty fingers grazing his skin, their hideous laughter reverberating in his mind, their sinister voices gnawing, relentless at the edges of his sanity. Phantom apparitions began to take form, adding a grotesque dimension to his living nightmare. The air around him grew dense with their presence, their spine-chilling whispers escalating in volume and persistence. They were more than figments of his imagination, they were malevolent realities. The mirror, once a commonplace object, had morphed into a portal leading to a world of unspeakable horror. Its reflection, he witnessed faces twisted in unending agony and rage, their eyes brimming with quiet accusations. Their spectral hands clawed at the glass, a futile but desperate plea for release. In his fright, he resolved to rid his home of the mirror. To incinerate it, to bury it in his backyard's darkest corners, but his attempts were in vain. No matter how he tried to dispose of it, the mirror would mysteriously re-emerge, its darkened surface reflecting his mounting terror. It was as if the mirror was tethered to him, feeding off his fear, growing in malevolence. His futile attempts to destroy it had only supercharged its dark powers. His tranquil home was now a house of horrors, a terrifying prison with no seeming escape. His sanity hung by a thread, his life dominated by the relentless, ever-present terror. The ominous shadows seemed to follow him, their whispers infiltrating his thoughts, their icy stares penetrating his very soul. He tried to seek help, to articulate his predicament, but the words got strangled in his throat. He was a prisoner in his own home, shackled by his own fear. The mirror's power seemed to increase with every passing second, its existence a constant, threatening omen of his impending doom. Every corner of his house echoed with the malevolent laughter of the apparitions, their evil eyes monitoring his every move. The mirror, once an ordinary object, now exerted a terrifying control over him. Every day was an ordeal, a battle against the unseen, malevolent forces that seemed to be closing in on him. He was losing hope, his will to fight being slowly devoured by fear and despair. He was teetering on the edge of surrender, of succumbing to the terror gnawing at his sanity. The walls of his home seemed to shrink, the whispers amplifying, the horrifying faces in the mirror growing more monstrous by the moment. With each passing day, the mirror's menacing power surged, pushing our protagonist to the precipice of madness. The once soothing familiarity of his home had been replaced by a cold, paralyzing dread. His every waking moment suffused with the terror of the unseen forces that tormented him. His terrifying journey, dominated by the relentless horror of the mirror, was far from over. As the protagonist grapples with the horrifying reality, a burning question remains. Where, in the breadth and depth of history, did this cursed mirror originate from? What is the true story behind this mystifying object that has shrouded his life in a nightmare? What is this malevolent entity that seems to lurk within its glistening reflective surface? This entity, a phantom presence that gives the mirror an eerie life of its own. A life that seems to breathe sinister whispers into the air, that sends chills down the protagonist's spine whenever he dares to glance into its reflective surface. A life that, although unseen, is undeniably felt in the looming malevolence of the mirror. The entity, whatever it might be, seems tethered to the mirror, trapped within its silvery expanse, yet possessing a palpable influence that beyond its glassy confines. The protagonist, trapped in the thick web of his terrifying predicament, sought answers. He delved into the annals of history, dove headfirst into ancient archives and dusty old books that smelled of time and forgotten stories. He searched for any trace, any whisper of a tale that might shed light on the origins of the cursed mirror. He sought the wisdom of experts, of antiquarians and historians, of spiritualists and paranormal researchers, hoping that they might have the knowledge to unravel this nightmarish mystery. But alas, his endeavours were to no avail. No written word or spoken tale could provide him with the answers he desperately sought. The mirror remained as mysterious as ever, its past shrouded in an unnerving silence that seemed to mock his desperate search for answers. And the entity? It remained steadfast and unyielding within the mirror, its inscrutable presence a constant, chilling reminder of the protagonist's predicament. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the terrifying hauntings persisted. The mirror's chilling grip on his life never loosened, never waned. Each haunting was more terrifying than the last, each encounter with the protagonist more shaken, more desperate. He felt the mirror's chilling grip tighten around his life, felt the cold dread that settled in his heart every time the mirror's surface caught his eye. His nights were filled with nightmares, his days shadowed by the constant fear of the mirror's next haunting. His life was no longer his own, taken hostage by the mirror and its chilling grip. But who or what exactly is trapped in the mirror? Is it a human spirit, trapped in the confines of the mirror, reaching out from the other side in desperate cries for... Or is it something else, something darker, something malevolent, feasting on the fear it so skillfully instills? Is it an entity born from the darkest corners of the supernatural realm, bound to the mirror by a bond that not even time can break? And can our protagonist ever escape its malevolence? Can he break free from the terrifying clutches of the mirror and reclaim his life from the haunting spectre that lurks within? Or is he doomed to live under the shadow of the mirror, his life held hostage by its chilling grip? These questions remain unanswered, the protagonist's fate hanging in the balance as the mirror continues its terrifying reign over his life. In a final act of desperation, our protagonist decides to confront the entity in the mirror. He has had enough of living in the shadow of the mirror, of being a prisoner in his own life. He is determined to break free from its chilling grip, to reclaim his life from the haunting spectre that lurks within its reflective surface. With a grim sense of determination etched onto his weary features, he prepares himself for the confrontation. He gathers his strength, his courage, and every ounce of resolve he possesses. He stares into the mirror, his gaze hardened, his spirit unyielding. He is ready to face the entity, to look into the abyss and challenge the darkness that has held him captive for so long. The confrontation is intense, filled with suspense and terror. The air is thick with tension, heavy with the weight of impending doom. The entity, sensing the protagonist's defiance, grows more aggressive, more malevolent. It lashes out, its spectral presence filling the mirror's surface, radiating a cold, chilling dread that permeates the room. The protagonist stands his ground, his courage unwavering, his determination unwavering. In a desperate attempt to break the mirror and free himself from its curse, he raises a heavy hammer. His hands are shaking, yet his grip is steady. His heart is pounding, yet his resolve is stronger. He swings the hammer, the impact echoing through the room like a thunderclap. The mirror shatters, shards of glass scattering across the floor, reflecting the harsh, cold light of reality. In the end, the mirror lies broken, its reflective surface shattered into 1,000 pieces. But does this spell the end of the haunting, or is it merely the beginning? As our protagonist stands amidst the wreckage of the mirror, a sense of foreboding fills the air. The entity may have been vanquished, or it may have been set free. Only time will tell. But for now, our protagonist can only hope that he has finally broken free from the mirror's chilling grip, that he has reclaimed his life from the haunting spectre that once lurked within its reflective surface. We hope you enjoyed this terrifying tale. If you love being on the edge of your seat, then this is the channel for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our community of thrill seekers and mystery lovers. If this video sent chills down your spine, give it a like and let us know. Your feedback helps us create more content that you'll love. Did the protagonist truly defeat the entity, or has he unknowingly unleashed it into the world? Share your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. We love hearing from you and discussing these chilling tales. Stay tuned for more terrifying tales. Until then, keep the lights on. And remember, not all mirrors are just reflective surfaces. Some may hold entities unknown, waiting to be unleashed.